Well, who says social media is a bad thing? A few days back, Facebook introduced me to the profile of a special therapist. I checked one post, then another, and soon I realized it was 35 minutes already over. I checked her profile and found that there is a lot to learn from her and a lot to learn about her. And here I am sharing digital space with her. How lucky I am. Hi, I'm Kamal Vich. Welcome to my podcast, Happy, Not Just Rich. Our guest today is a very inspiring personality. She is a licensed therapist in Connecticut, creating lasting and meaningful changes in the lives of her patients. Recently, she has also authored one book, which we'll discuss during our conversation. So please welcome Marisa Yubas to the podcast. Hi, Marisa. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm super excited to be here.
Great, great, great. So, as I said, I checked your social media profiles and I said you have a very interesting personality and very interesting job. You're helping people by touching their lives and improving their lifestyles. Can you please just tell us who is Marisa Yubas, how it started, what do you do, and what's your mission?
Yeah, I've had a really extensive journey and I spent decades living in active addiction and struggling with my mental health. I mean, decades. And I had really poor experiences with therapists and psychiatrists. Um, and I really struggled to connect with them. I didn't trust them. My home life was very stressful. And I got on this path where I decided that I wanted to help people the way I needed to be helped when I was younger. And I did find therapists who are wonderful. And I learned a lot about how to help people from being a patient myself, which I still am. I went to college and studied psychology. And I actually went in between for grad school whether or not I wanted to do sports psychology or marriage and family therapy. Sports psychology because I was a professional athlete in equestrian show jumping. And I thought that that was something where I could combine my two passions.
Mhm.
However, I decided on marriage and family therapy because it was more broad. It really allows me to help people in all areas of their life. And I do specialize working with athletes and performers like acrobats and musicians and people who
Great.
have to perform under pressure. So I'm
Mhm.
able to bring my personal experiences as well as my clinical experiences and education forward to help that unique demographic. So I went into marriage and family therapy and I went through grad school in New York, which is actually where I'm from. I'm from Westchester, New York, and I loved it. And I was not somebody who was good at school
Mhm.
until college, and then I got even better in graduate school. You know, they say that the more interested you are in something, the better you'll do. Um,
Yes,
so as my focus got closer and closer, I really found what I feel like was my calling.
exactly,
And
exactly.
I actually, after graduate school, worked as a professional athlete full time for 10 years. And
Great.
during that time, I was still seeing clients.
Mhm.
So
Great.
I had a lot to balance in my, personal life, my two professions. There was a lot going on. And I really learned that I could understand the difficulties of parents and families
Mhm.
in terms of what it's like to try to balance everything, and as well as the my experiences as a child, growing up in a household that had a lot of stuff going on.
Okay,
So
great.
I really just kind of fell into love with this, and I started seeing my patients in 2013, and it's now 2025, and I'm still absolutely in love with what I do.
Great, great, great. Nice meeting, really. I think I go with this motto that if your why is clear, your how will become clear. You just mentioned that in schools, during the school time, you were not a good, let's say, brilliant student, but later on, you started excelling in what you were doing. I think your why became clear, as you said, your calling, right? So great, great, great. Here, I am from an engineering background. I'm a telecom engineer. So I will ask you some questions which are very basic. Can you please tell the difference between a coach and a therapist?
So there are actually a bunch of similarities. So they both offer or can offer one-on-one, like individualized support, working directly with clients.
Hmm.
They both involve listening, active listening, and providing guidance.
Yeah,
They're both goal-oriented, client-driven, and they're both designed to help clients shift perspective and create change. However, when it comes to being a licensed therapist versus a coach, there are different training and credential requirements. So for a coach, anyone can be a coach, right?
right.
Whether you're a financial coach or a business coach or a life coach or whatever kind of coaching you're doing, there's no one body that regulates coaching. Um, and on the other hand, being a licensed mental health therapist, you have to have at least a master's degree and you need to complete supervised hours, sometimes 1,000, sometimes 3,000. Um, there are state and national licensing exams. You need to apply everything that you've done and all the requirements to your state in order for them to give you your license.
Great.
And there's a requirement for continuing education. So every therapist, depending on their license and their state, has a different number of hours of continuing education that have to be done every year. And
Hmm.
I know for my license, one of the requirements, or two requirements: one, that one of my courses is on ethics, and two, it's on cultural differences, on different cultures, um, which is very important because as a therapist, not everyone who walks in my doors like me, right?
Right. Right.
I'm the only one who's me. Um, some other areas that are different are, like a licensed therapist can assess, diagnose, treat mental health disorders. Um, Coaches cannot. We focus more on mental health issues like anxiety, depression, trauma, relationship problems, emotion regulation, childhood experiences, and healing from all of those things. And coaching is great is in that it also does, works on habit building, mindset shifts, accountability, future planning. But it also will do things like goal achievement, career advancement, those kind of like life experiences that aren't necessarily as in depth as what we do as a licensed therapist. We have different approaches. There are different regulations and ethics. Like we have, very strict licensing boards and confidentiality laws like HIPAA, continuing education clients, requirements, things like that. Um, and there's risk management for us. We are trained to identify, manage, and refer for crises like suicidal ideation or abuse. So we are trained to look for those things. We are trained to help with those things. And we're trained to know that if it's outside our scope of practice, we are responsible to find somebody who it is
Specializes in
the
that one. Yeah.
specialty,
Mhm.
that we can then know that we are safely bringing one client to another clinician for their best chances.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You see, my purpose of starting this podcast is slowly, slowly coming to life. No, never in my life I would have known this, what I learned from you. My horizon is increasing now. It's becoming more wide. Thank you very much. So on your social media handle, Instagram, you have Marisa Yubas MFT. So here, I know the meaning now, but I would like to know my audience also to know what does MFT stands for, and then we'll talk more about MFT.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
MFT stands for Marriage and Family Therapist, and that's the degree I studied. There are other types of therapists that are trained, licensed master social workers, licensed clinical social workers, licensed professional counselors,
Yeah.
and they all have their different education requirements, different scopes of practice. I chose marriage and family therapy because I really appreciate specializing with couples and families and being able to see that broad view. And I can work with intergenerational trauma and I
Hmm.
can work with individuals, and I'm able to have a very strong relational understanding and background.
Great. I have here one question. When I was very young, I used to read this book, Men Are from Mars, Women from Venus, and how psychology is different, etc. Let's say a couple walks in and they are having some problem with each other. They seek your help as a therapist, and you tell them, let us try this, let us try this. But if the person is not in a proper state of reception, they would say that no, 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 this gentleman, he's beyond repair. The husband will say, this lady is beyond hope. Do you encounter this? Because people say, yes, what you're saying is correct, maybe correct from a book perspective, but looking at my particular marriage, this will not apply because the other party is not having any hope anymore.
Right. So couples come in for, huge amounts of issues, whether it's communications skills, conflict resolution, mismatched values or life goals, parenting disagreements,
Yes.
sexual difficulties, financial stress. Maybe there's recovery from a major life event like moving, illness, job loss. And when working with couples and families, even individuals, there's a lot of blame, right?
Hmm.
It's very difficult for people to acknowledge their role in
Hmm.
difficulties, whether within themselves or with other people, because it hurts. We don't
Yeah.
like to know or feel like we've done something wrong and that we contribute to our own misery. The way we
Hmm.
think, the way we relate to people, all those things. So when a couple comes in and they're blaming each other, right?
Yes.
It's not time necessarily to jump in to what the issue is.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That's the time to build a relationship with them, build trust, and work on those sort of distress tolerance skills. Because if a couple comes in, they're in some sort of distress.
Right.
So it's important to meet them where they are, not where they necessarily want to be, right? Because there's a gap
Right.
between
Right.
where people are and where they want to be. And it's important to go step by step to build, starting with the foundation. So some of the things are, I have a list of rules, and
Mm-hmm.
it's called fair fighting rules. And they
Okay.
sign them.
Okay.
They read
Great.
them, they initial them, they sign them, and we have them out, right? They each are responsible for having their list, right?
Yeah.
And when there is a conflict, there's a difference between having a conflict and having an argument. And it's the way we have the conversation and the way we regulate. So, distress tolerance skills, emotion regulation skills, and boundaries, identifying and learning how to employ healthy boundaries
Mm-hmm.
are probably my top three things that I work with when a couple comes in and they're blaming each other and there's no real accountability on one or either side.
I think you are doing very good work. A lot of blessings to you because you're saving families, you're saving the future of the kids.
The way we are raised is the way we're conditioned, right?
Right.
So when
Yes.
we're born, we're not mini adults, right? We're children.
Right.
And our parents' job is not to punish us or shame us or guilt us or isolate us, which is super common in our world right now. A
Mm.
parent's job is to help children develop a sense of self, develop emotion regulation skills and to allow them to make mistakes because we learn by doing,
Yeah.
and to build up a person who can then go forth and have a fully functioning, fulfilling life from the inside as an adult.
Excellent. That's a beautiful definition of parenting. I'm going to rewind that and listen by myself because I have a 12-year-old boy. In Indian culture, we have this good cop, bad cop. The mother is generally the good cop. The father is generally the bad cop.
I tend to see it the other way, actually,
Mm,
where moms tend to be more authoritarian because
mm,
there is this invisible primary parent,
right.
right?
Yes.
And the
Yeah, she
moms
has the
tend to be
more
the
of, yes.
primary parent, right?
Mm,
So the burden of responsibility for raising the child will fall on mom very frequently. And the
exactly.
thing is, we can't teach our kids to hate themselves into loving themselves, just the same way as we as adults cannot hate ourselves into loving
Mm,
ourselves. Punishment doesn't work. It builds
mm,
resentment and fear and low self esteem, right? And we tend to combine the behavior with the person,
mm,
right? So we need to learn how to separate as parents. I love you. I don't approve of the behavior, right? And as a parent, we need to be curious, right? Our children are not mini me's, they're their own
mm,
person. So, in order to help them build their identity and, and build their own personality, for a parent to get curious, and this is curiosity within ourselves, with friends, anybody, but especially for a parent to become curious about who their child is,
yeah.
bring them in, is going to build their skills. So rather than just saying, like, why would you do this? I don't understand. What were you thinking?
Yeah.
Right? And yelling and shaming and like, you don't get your car for the weekend, or you can't go see your friends, or like, you can't play this sport, or like, go to your room, and like things of that
Yeah.
nature. It doesn't work,
Yeah.
right? We need connection, not separation. And
Excellent.
so, because connection and love is safe to explore. So,
Mm,
as a parent, if somebody, if our child maybe hits somebody, or our child stays past curfew, or drinks,
mm,
right? To approach them with curiosity and understanding and saying, listen, I understand, you know, that you know, you might have been very angry, or can you tell me how you were feeling and what was happening leading
mm,
up to the incident, right? Um, so that we can learn. Because let's say a child hits somebody. Well, the child might have been experiencing harm from
right.
the child
Right.
they hit, right? Whether it's psychological, emotional, mental, physical, it doesn't matter. Harm is harm.
So we are trying to understand the context rather than just reacting on what happened. The news actually what happened, that your child hit my child. This
Yeah.
is the news that came to me, and 9 out of 10 people will react to the news. And now what you are saying is basically, before reacting to that news, let us try to find the context, try to find the background, try to find the mindset of the child, and then react.
That's actually like a really important thing. And you said, before we react, well, guess what? We cannot stop our initial reaction. That knee jerk, that is neurons. That is
Hmm.
lightning fast. We can't control that. What we
Okay.
can do is not present it to the child,
Hmm.
and to take a pause for us as the parent to self regulate. It is nobody's fault that we feel a certain way. It's nobody else's problem that we feel a certain way.
mm,
right?
mm,
You disappointed me. Well, guess what? Tough, tough, right? You disappointed me. Well, the disappointment has to do with your expectations,
mm.
not the child doing something to purposely harm you, right?
Excellent.
So that's where our own emotion regulation skills come in. I see a lot of couples come in because they don't want to do the things that they've been doing. They don't want to be treated the way their parents treated them.
Mm, mm. Right, right.
Um, so in those contexts, it's very important that we regulate ourselves, we learn how to regulate, and then we come forward with compassion and curiosity so that our children then feel safe to say, I got angry,
Mm.
right? And then we can come in and say, next time you're in the same or similar situation, you know, if I'm in that situation or when I've been in that situation, this is what I do to help myself. Maybe you can try that next time.
Great, great, great piece of advice. Great, really. Also, my perspective, I would like to share on this one because I'm a father. I am around 45 now. So there's a comedian in India who says that we are living in a generation where we have to ask our parents, please spend. Your your children are earning well, please try to spend little bit, because Indian parents normally who are in 70s would not spend. If we want to give him a little comfort by spending a few dollars, first reaction would be, what was the need? I was okay without it. At the same time, we have to talk to our children, please think before spending, your father is working very hard. So we are in the middle, who is talking to one generation that please start increasing your expenses and enjoying the money, and to the other generation we are saying, please think, I work very hard for making this money. Right, so see what we are
Right.
dealing with. Yeah.
Right. And so not only is it a generational thing, it's an individual thing, right?
Mm.
And we have learned how important it is that presence being there is so much important than presence giving a gift,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
We thrive on connection, right? And meaningful connection. And again, here we go. If we're not connected and accepting of ourselves, right? And we're not vulnerable with other people. That's the key, vulnerability.
Mm.
If we are not safe enough to be vulnerable with another person, we will never connect because connection is emotional,
Right, right.
right? So we're wanting attention and affection. And a lot of times kids will misbehave because they get more attention when they misbehave than when they behave. Because when they're behaving, we're like, well, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
However, appreciation and acknowledgement and gratitude will breed more of the good behaviors, of the positive, effective behaviors, because whatever you focus on is going to continue to grow. So if you're not acknowledging
The
your
good behavior.
children
Mm.
doing the things that whether they're supposed to do or that they're doing or whatever, and you're focusing on everything that they're not doing, kids are going to shut down. And that's where we lose connection. We get isolated. We're extremely lonely. And then we turn to things like addiction, whether it's a substance, food, shopping, technology, because we are desperate for the dopamine that we're missing from genuine connections. And it starts in the family.
Very good. Very, very, very good perspective. I could have never thought one of the reason for addiction could be also coming from here. Really. Thank you very much for educating us. Okay, my next question is related to again about your work. I was researching about you on LinkedIn. I found out that you have skills in three main areas: cognitive behavioral therapy, relationship counseling, and parent coaching and psychology. So, which one is the most common uh, kind of therapy that people approach you for?
Um, Absolutely, cognitive behavioral therapy. I think that that's the most common across the board. Um, Cognitive behavioral therapy is structured. It focuses on identifying and changing unhelpful thought patterns and behaviors, undesirable behaviors. And it works by teaching clients to notice their thoughts, challenge cognitive distortions like all or nothing thinking, black or white thinking,
Mm.
and replace them with a more balanced thinking practice. And practicing healthier coping behaviors. So this is great for anxiety, depression, some trauma, um, even chronic pain management. So that is definitely the number one go-to across the board. And it is different than just talk therapy,
Mm.
right? Cognitive behavior therapy is not a client sitting in front of a therapist talking for 45 minutes, right? And venting about life and things like that. It's a collaborative relationship that involves active psychoeducation, active practicing of new skills and challenging oneself in the office, right? So that clients can then go home and maybe their homework is to practice those skills or one skill, right, for that week and see how it goes. Do you remember to do it? How often? If not, what do you think could help you? Things of that nature. Um, there are a whole bunch of other um, types of therapy, depending, we're seeing a tremendous amount of trauma um, and complex trauma, relational trauma. And for those things, we tend to look at more of structured approaches like EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That is a specialty, and it's very structured, and it uses bilateral stimulation. So when we cross halves of our brain, it helps us to reprocess traumatic memories. And then there's another framework that I'm a specialist in, which is internal family systems. And internal family systems sounds like it would be family systems, but what it actually is it's a parts based therapy. So where we can work with individuals, just like EMDR can work with individuals, where IFS can help people by seeing the mind as parts. So these are our sub personalities, each with their own feelings, needs, and roles. So, and we get to name them. So we can say, oh, my critical brain that's telling me I'm not good enough, you know, he's Fred,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And, my inner child who's scared, you know, I'm going to call her small, right? And we can have a ton of parts. And so what we look to do in that kind of trauma therapy is help clients connect with their self, a calm,
Mm.
compassionate core. Who are they? And be able to work through their wounded or protective parts through understanding each one and integrating them.
Great.
So that really works well with PTSD, complex trauma, childhood, neglect and abuse, and things of that nature.
As you were talking, thoughts were coming to my mind. What you're trying to achieve here with your clients is very challenging, and the success of this practice depends on two things. Number one, the clients should have full trust that we are in safe hands. Second, the client should open up because everybody has a dark side. No matter, nobody's a priest here, right? Nobody's a saint. So everybody has a dark side. So when you're coming to the therapist, they are showing only 80% because the remaining 20%, although they know is the reason for their misery, but they're too shameful in opening up.
You're right. A lot
Right.
of people come in and they're scared. They're
Hmm.
afraid, right? They're anxious. And anxiety is fear, right?
Right.
So it's fear of feeling pain.
Yeah.
It's fear of looking at our lives honestly. It's fear of vulnerability with an unknown person, right? And the beginning of sessions of therapy, whether it's a month or 3 months, is all about building a relationship
Right.
with each other, right? Because if you don't like your therapist and you don't trust your therapist, therapy will never work for
Will
you.
never work. 100%. I 100%
Right?
agree with you. 100% agree with you. This one.
It's a very high percentage that, not that it doesn't matter the approach, but it's the relationship between the client and the therapist that is the best determining factor on the efficacy
Yes.
of the therapy, right?
Yes.
And so when we can build trust and build that rapport and build a relationship, then people start out being able to tiptoe,
Hmm.
put one little drop in, right? Also, when I notice someone's afraid or anxious or guarded, I can address it. I
Hmm.
recognize that you seem a little shut down right now. I recognize that you are very tense right now. I can see it in your body language. You know, your arms are crossed, your head's down, you're not looking at me. Um, you know, what are
100%.
your concerns right now? What are
Right.
you feeling in your body right now? And being able to manage expectations that, hey, I'm not here to go at you with an axe. Like, we're here with, like, you know, a surgeon's blade here.
Hmm.
This is surgery, right? So I'll push when I think I can, and you feel free to speak up and tell me stop or no, or I don't want to talk about this anymore. And immediately we move on to something else, right?
Great.
And I always make sure that there's time at the end of the session, beginning and end, to ease our way in and ease our way back out into life.
Hmm. Excellent. I'm so lucky that I'm talking to you. Really, because this is my first interaction with anybody dealing with therapy, and I'm lucky that I'm with somebody who is deeply into it, with
Mm-hmm.
education and also with experience. Okay, now I'll come back to the theme of my podcast. They are listening to Happy, Not Just Rich. So I would like to ask you to recall some encounters, if you have encountered some people who are actually having abundance, they are still not happy. And because many people, they relate happiness with directly with money. So here I'm talking about some of your past experiences with the clients. If you can just explain one or two scenarios or your experience
Yeah.
with Happy Not Just Rich and how you help them.
Right. So I'm going to go a little broad on this, right?
Okay.
Because instead of honing in on specifics, there are things that are similar across the board with clients who have money, whether they're comfortable or very wealthy, um, who come in for therapy. And a big part of it is how we define success, right? Because
Right.
we can have all the money in the world and be miserable because we don't like ourselves. Our mindset is skewed. Our
Yeah.
perspective on ourselves and others is skewed. And because at the end of the day, we cannot solve an internal problem with external solutions,
Well
right?
said. True.
Yes. Can money help? Absolutely. It pays for food and gas and housing and vacations and health insurance and medical expenses and
True.
dinner. And of course it helps. And there's a whole other side of mental health that goes along with people in poverty. However,
Mm. Right.
with
Right.
people
Right.
who are wealthy, we actually see in the upper middle and upper classes some of the most serious emotional abuse and neglect. So
Hmm.
while we may see more physical neglect and abuse in lower socioeconomic statuses, the emotional side is very involved in these higher classes. And we're seeing that a lot of it has to do, again, from parents,
Hmm.
right? And it's their relationship with themselves and their relationship with other people that really makes them miserable. And it's because maybe they're not skilled, they don't know, right? Maybe they never learned how to connect with themselves and connect with other people and have those communication skills and conflict resolution skills and emotion management skills. Um, a lot of people come from their own history of abuse,
Hmm.
right? And that's where we call intergenerational abuse, is when that abuse, starts with maybe a great grandparent, and then they abuse the grandparents, and then the grandparents abuse the parents, and then the parents abuse the children. And that's something else that we need to look at when working with people who are financially wealthy, but not internally rich, right?
Right.
Because we're learning that success is looking more like internal fulfillment than external things, right?
True.
You can drive
True.
the nicest car, you can live in a big fancy house, but if you're lonely and discontent and angry and isolated and all those things,
Yes, it's
right?
meaningless. Yes.
Meaningless,
Yes.
because
Yes.
since the, industrial revolution, we have shifted as a society from people who work to workers who have families,
Hmm.
right? Or
Yeah.
workers who have their own lives.
Yeah.
And that dynamic has really messed us up, right? Because we are humans first. You know, work is a societal evolution.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, we used to trade, right? We used to trade services and things, and then, you know, taxes began on salt,
Hmm.
of all things. And um, money came into it. And, with the Industrial Revolution, we were able to do 9 to 5 factory jobs,
Hmm.
right? And so as we've gone through and as technology has increased, now employers and employees think that because they have access to communication tools like texting, email, all that stuff, means that they are available 24/7
Right.
for their
Right.
job, right?
Yes.
And it's not many people, there are certain positions that are kind of 24-hour. If you are on call as a medical professional,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
you know,
Your the
something
life
like
depends
that.
on your availability. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But we're humans first, and
Right.
humans are emotional beings, all of us, hands down, from the moment we're born. We are emotional beings. And we have now been conditioned through society and through different generations and their societal conditioning to grow up in a way that we need to hide ourselves and not have emotions unless they're anger,
Hmm.
right? Because anger is prevention, right? Anger is grief's bodyguard. It's pain's bodyguard. It's the thing that makes us not vulnerable,
Okay.
right? And money can't buy that.
Right.
Money can't buy love, right? Love is an action. Love is a verb. Love is in the things that we do. It's how we treat ourselves. It's how we treat other people. It's how we talk to them, talk to ourselves about ourselves, or to other people about other people. Love
Right.
is an action, right? Yes, being in love is a feeling, but love
Hmm.
is an action. It's behaviors too. And we don't know how to experience love or provide love. And let it be unconditional, because we also need unconditional acceptance. That's what acceptance is. It's unconditional.
Hmm.
And if we can't accept ourselves and others for being the fallible people that we are, hands down, everybody, right? Then how can we be unconditionally loved and supported, right?
True. True. Thank you for your beautiful explanation. I'm getting different perspective of the same thing, because this type of questions I discuss almost twice a week, but
Mm,
everybody has a different perspective. Like one person told me, I'll tell you very simple definition. Um, I was talking to a corporate employee, somebody like a senior manager in some multinational company. So I asked him, okay, now you have got so many zeros in your salary. That's one good thing. You drive a very beautiful car. That's a nice thing. You have a big house. That's a beautiful thing. You have a nice family also. God bless you. But I would like to ask you how many lives you have touched. So today, when you are in the very busy and somebody sends you a resume or a CV of an absolute fresher, now you are having 20 years, 25 years experience. You are quite advanced in your organization and you have friends in the industry.
yes.
Are you going to open that CV, give it a 5 minutes look or not? So one person sends this resume with all the qualifications, and now this guy is wanting to have a chance that if he can have a job at your company. N- Most people will not even open it.
I very much
Because,
don't believe in that. I very much
uh,
don't believe in that. And listen, I work in private practice,
mm,
so not something hiring other clinicians for my private practice isn't something that I do. However, I am a massive believer in giving people chances, second chances, in having faith in somebody, and just giving somebody a shot, paying it forward,
that's yes, that's the
right?
point here.
And I can
Yes.
say from my experience, like, in all of this, including my own experiences being wealthy, not happy, um, I grew up affluent, and I had major depression, suicidal attempts, major anxiety, drug addiction, right? When I got married, I married into a wealthy family, so wealthy married into wealthy, right? And I kind of just did whatever I wanted,
Mm,
but there was no real emotional connection. I continued to be addicted, continued to be depressed and suicidal and lonely and highly anxious. And when I entered addiction recovery, this is my second attempt at recovery. I have long term, many years of recovery now that I continue to work on. So I'm continuing to work on myself, through recovery and therapy. I realized that my environment and the people I was around, as much as I loved them, I wasn't in love. I didn't have the emotional connection.
mhm.
Um, and I remarried someone who is not wealthy. However, there is a deep emotional bond. There is deep mutual respect, admiration, healthy boundaries, unconditional love, unconditional acceptance. And the longer we're together, the better our relationship has gotten. And I
Yeah.
have stepkids, and one of them has autism. He's quite disabled.
Okay.
And it's very easy to get frustrated, but we help each other co regulate,
Very good.
right?
Very
And I live in a small apartment, you know, and we have, our cars and food and clothes on our back and electricity and plumbing and heat and AC
Yeah. Sometimes
and medical
sufficiency. That's
care.
it. Yes.
And honestly, I have never been happier or more content or more fulfilled and have more joy in my life and stability internally and a relationship with myself, never had anything better than what I have now.
Great. I'm so happy for you. And God bless you. Thank you. Okay, now we'll talk about your book. Uh,
Yes.
yes, your baby. So, you have recently authored this book called Empowering Women to Unleash Their Potential and Rewrite the Rules for Success. Please tell us about
Yes.
this. Who is the target reader for you? And what is this book all about?
Absolutely. So, Limitless Leadership actually has 10 authors. So, there are 10 women, including myself, who are experts in their field.
Okay.
And this book is designed for women, although one can argue the lessons in here are for anybody.
Hmm.
The information in here is for anybody.
Great.
And it's for people who want to break free of essentially imposter syndrome
Mhm.
and the I can't, not me mindset, and helps us to identify like how we've been conditioned in our roles, especially as women in society, and what the definition of success means. And we get to, the book encourages women, and again, I would argue all people, to look at what they define success as
Mhm.
and find the gaps between what they think success is and what they feel success is, and write their own rules for what success looks like in their life. That's how to build a fulfilling life.
Great.
So, in this book, you have people, women from different backgrounds, different areas of expertise, whether it's social media management, or it's a business coach, or it's an entrepreneur, or if it's me, a therapist, writing about society and women and mental health and how um, as women, our nurturing environments are
Great.
actually our biggest strength and how to utilize that, especially in the workplace. That's this book.
Great. I'll put the link of the book in the description.
Yeah.
When I post this video on YouTube, I'll put the link. I think it's available on Amazon, right?
It is on Amazon, and
Very
it's
good.
available paperback or Kindle.
Okay. I love paperback. I'm old guy. I like the smell of paper. Yes, but unfortunately, some books you cannot carry, especially if you're traveling a lot. So Kindle is a big help also. But if I can get it, I try to get the paperback.
Yes, and
Great.
it's only 188 pages. It's a good
Okay.
read.
Great. Great.
You're not
I
sitting
will.
down to read 250, 400 pages. It's
I'll
not
get.
like that at all.
Great. Okay, next question is for the self doubting woman. What would be your message to them? Because you are a very confident and very positive person. When I talk to you, I don't feel tired. Actually, I get more energized. So that's like a good part of your personality. And I see the confidence coming out of you. But at the same time, there are some ladies who are self doubting. They get education, but they don't use that in any profession, and that education goes wasted, and my heart breaks when I see like that. So what would be your message to the ladies who are self-doubting ladies and they are not living their life to their full potential?
So, for example, there are cultural differences. It's possible for that for women in your culture who have an education who don't work and use it, maybe there's fear of judgment, fear of criticism, fear of being isolated or rejected in the culture, right?
Yes, it is
So,
there.
fear is probably the most defining factor in everything that we do. That being said, for the general woman who's experiencing self doubt, my recommendations would be to check in with your values, right? Because if you're living by somebody else's standards, somebody else's values, somebody else's anything, then of course we're going to self-doubt because that's not where we fit, right? We need to make sure that we're living according to our values in order to have a fulfilling life. And when we are behaving in a way that's in line with our values, we gain a tremendous amount of confidence. My confidence has been developed over the last 8 years. I was not born with it. I was not raised with it. In certain areas, yes, did I have confidence, but was I confident in myself? No. No. I had
So
to
what
spend a
changed in
lot of
last
time
8 years? What was the magical
Yeah, the magic
potion?
touch. The
Okay.
magic touch was recognizing that the way I thought about myself
Hmm.
tended to not be my voice, right? So that's a question to ask ourselves, right? When our brain is designed to constantly be thinking. We can't
Yes.
control that. We can't stop our thoughts. That's a myth, right? That being said, 90% of what our brain comes up with is probably BS. And there's that saying, don't believe everything you think, right?
Yes, that's a good
So,
statement. Yes.
so the two things that I recommend are to, one, check in because it's in your voice, but it is not your voice. Whose
Hmm.
voice is it? Is it your mother's? Is it your father's? Is it your siblings? Is it your boss? Is it your cousin? Is it your child? Right? Was it a teacher?
Hmm.
Whose voice is talking? Who talks like that to you in your life? Right? Because the way people talk to you becomes the way you talk to yourself. Right? So that's step
100%.
one. The other piece of it is when you have an intrusive thought that's harmful and we're working to not believe everything we think. If we can meet it with humor, it's easier for us to let go, right? So, for example, for myself, if I have an intrusive thought that hurts me or surprises me or something, I can take a step back and be like, whoa, that's ridiculous,
Yes.
right?
But
Just in like that way.
I think I have to make my question more specific because situation
Okay.
is very serious and very common, very widespread. There's a lady, well educated, married, got pregnant, got baby, left the profession. She she left her job for the baby,
Yes.
and now after 4 5 years, the husband is blaming the woman. You are good for nothing.
Mm,
Situation that bad. So all the hard work that she has done, the beautiful baby that she has delivered and raised with full responsibility, at the end she's hearing that you have done nothing. You are good. You what are you good for? Absolutely nothing.
mm,
So that time the lady has to do something. She needs to have a pillar. She needs to have a pillar to which she can hold, so that she can wake up tomorrow morning with fresh energy. Otherwise, for her, it's every day just waking up, eating, sleeping. The
yes.
life has no meaning. So in this kind of scenario situation, the only thing which can bring confidence is dollar or currency or whatever country you are in. So if she's, let's say, doing something, maybe giving tuitions, online tuitions, teaching, coaching, teaching language or anything, at least some kind of money is coming, no matter how small, no matter how big. This will bring her confidence back because this currency, this dollar, is understood by everybody. So here, when she says tomorrow to her husband that, look, this is my qualification. 4 5 years back, I used to do this. Now I want to get back to life. There will be a
Mm,
lot of, in some families, there will be support. In a lot of families, there will be also doubt. What if you fail? So that time we need support for this lady. This hypothetical lady that I'm trying to draw with my words is
yes.
not very rare, by the way. It's not very
Right.
rare.
That's
It's
not.
very common. Yes. So, in my opinion, here, as a gents, as a person of other gender, it's my duty to support her and give her this comfort that try. We have nothing to lose. Even if you fail, we'll learn something. So if you can give just this comfort, that's enough. You win or you lose, we have nothing to lose. So try. If you want to try something, try. So from the person of other gender, it's my message that the people who are, yeah, the husbands of this lady or the family members of this lady, they should behave in this way. This is my logical thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing, is not everybody thinks the way we do. And honestly, they sound like perfect candidates for couples therapy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what's hard too is, gender roles here, right? Because raising a family is not nothing, right?
It's big.
So for a lot of
Big.
people, it's not nothing and they're very appreciative. And for a lot others,
Hmm.
it's seen as you're not contributing to the house, right? And that's when we hear you're just a freeloader, is a word that we
Hmm.
use in our country, right? You're just sitting around doing nothing, you're not contributing to the family.
Yes.
So for somebody who's in that position where they don't have the support of the people around them, my advice is a little harsh. Forget them,
Hmm.
right? Forget them. They don't see my worth. Well, just because somebody else doesn't see your worth doesn't mean you don't have worth,
Exactly. That's beautiful words. Yes. You have to
right?
first love yourself. You have to respect yourself. And
Yes.
only then you can demand the respect from others. This
Yeah, and
is,
it's not even demanding respect, it's earning it. It's
yes.
attracting respect. And for
Hmm.
somebody who wants to go back to work and contribute in a way that is seen by others as contributing, right? That's again another sacrifice, and it's a
Hmm.
sacrifice for the greater good, and it's going to boost her self-esteem, right? And some people, when they're going back to work, they think, I might not be able to do this, right? But here's the thing, you either win or you learn,
Exactly.
or you win and learn,
True. True.
right? You only fail when you give up. As long as you're fighting for yourself, as long as you're trying, as long as you're putting in the work and you're doing the next right thing for the next right reason, you will never fail.
Right. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. And in between your explanation, you said that this is the couple, which is typical candidates for the couple therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, my next question is related to that one. So people would say that uh, therapy, I don't need it. It's not for me. It's for XYZ kind of people, but not for me. I am not like that. We don't need that. So, what are the symptoms? What are the signs that people can identify that we should stop solving our problem by ourselves? I think it's time to seek professional help of a therapist.
Very
Let's talk about
simple.
couple therapy itself. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
well,
it's
it's
just.
actually very simple. The symptom is dissatisfaction in life,
Hmm.
dissatisfaction with yourself,
Hmm.
with your relationships, with your job, right? Anything. If you are dissatisfied, come for help, right?
But here I have to ask one counter question to
Yeah.
understand more. In couples, it's easy to blame the other one. Let's say you have I mean, there is a dissatisfaction between the couples. They would not say that we need therapy. The first reaction would be, it is because of the other party. The husband will blame it on wife. The wife will blame it on husband. I'm just thinking this will be the like usual behavior. Nobody, unless they both are reasonably thinking, and then they say, okay, I think we both need to improve a little bit. Let's go for therapy. But
Mhm.
I don't see that happening uh,
Okay.
in an easy way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first there will be a blame, right?
Right.
Okay.
For a situation like that, where one person is just not on board, that doesn't mean that the other person can't get help individually.
Hmm.
because that person can then develop a relationship with somebody who truly believes in them, cheerleads them, helps them, validates them, who actually cares, who truly, truly cares. Because anybody doing this work, if you're doing this work for the right reason, we all care. I cry with my clients. I think about them in between things. I might see a book that I'm going to recommend next time, or a worksheet
Hmm.
I came across that's going to help, or maybe I see a meme that I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
God, this is perfect for this person, right? And I hold up my phone the next time and I say, look at what I found and thought of you, obviously, if it's appropriate. But having an individual therapist to work on your own internal skills to better deal with and better manage yourself in that type of unsupportive, critical environment will only help.
Hmm. Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you. I have asked you a lot of tough questions, lot of heavy questions. So as you said in your therapy at the end, you have some light moments. So my next question is very light. Okay. It's it's my observation after going through your social media profiles. So I wrote one question for that. From all your posts, reels, and the videos, I figured out that black is your pink. If it's not too personal, may I ask you why you are in love with black, which, by the way, suits you very well.
Thank you. I adore black. You know what's interesting is I grew up wearing color and I grew up wearing bright colors, and I think it was because I was living for somebody else. I
Oh,
was living for my mom, my family, society, right? And the truth is, I'm just a little goth punk rock person, kid.
okay.
And I would say that black makes me feel the most comfortable in my skin.
Hmm.
Everything I own is black down to my underwear. Everything I
Right.
own is black.
Yeah, and Instagram. I would really ask people, whoever watching this episode, please visit your profile on social media, Instagram,
Yeah.
video, watch some reels, because really you have some very valuable messages there. This maybe is very
Mhm.
superficial that we are talking about the colors, but the message that you have in those reels are very, very, very deep, and you have this God's gift to bring that message in a very easy way.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for being so candid with me. Thank you.
Yeah, of
So
course.
my last question is going to be 5 questions. Now the catch is the catch is that it's one liner and you have to just reply in whatever comes to your mind impromptu. Okay, so I call it like a rapid fire round, and that's the last one normally in my podcasts.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll ask five questions. First one is one morning habit that can change our lives.
Gratitude list.
Great. Most common mistake people do while setting their life goals.
Not creating the action steps, the small steps necessary to get there.
Great. Most effective self-regulation tool to prevent losing control.
Practicing the pause. Practice the pause, practice the pause. Think before you speak, think before you act.
Excellent. Mantra for perseverance when things turn southwards.
One step at a time, one moment at a time, just keep going.
Excellent. Excellent. Importance of pause in your routine life. Not pause during the speaking. The pause
Okay.
in the let's say life. Do not doing same. So importance of pause in the routine life.
Very important in order to spend time focusing on emotional connection.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. That's the end of 5 questions. For the fourth one, I will just tell you something. I had the very first guest on my podcast was his name was Siddharth. He's an entrepreneur in India. Uh, he has this beautiful message called 5 minutes more. So when you are, let's say, writing a program, computer program, you are a programmer, or you are doing anything, whatever is your work, and you are stuck, the results are not coming.
Mhm.
At, he said that before I give up, I just say to myself, what if I give 5 minutes? I believe me, that message was so simple, and
I
it's
love that so much. I'm going to steal it and use it myself.
Yes, that's why I just wanted to bring it. If you want, you can watch that episode. Unfortunately, some part of that will be in Hindi, uh, because we were very candid, but there is subtitles. It's very beautiful message, and I'll send you the reel. We have a small short also for that. I will send it to
Great.
you soon. So, Marisa, what can I say? Thank you. Sounds to be so small. I just learned so much from you. We had a beautiful episode, and I think I found a friend.
Absolutely. I
Great,
love keeping in touch with people
great.
everywhere in the world.
Excellent, excellent. This is a beautiful job that I found out that I'm learning, I'm making friends, my horizon is increasing, and my audience is also learning from the discussions that we are having. So I would just ask you one small thing that in the link below, I would put the social media handles,
Oh.
Instagram, LinkedIn, and your email address. What is your most preferred method of being approached? So, if somebody wants to approach you for help, where should they reach you? What's your preferred method?
So find me on Instagram. Find me
Okay,
on Instagram. You can direct message me. My email is on there. I believe my phone number is on there. You can call, text, email, DM, whatever works best for you.
excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. So that's all. That brings us to the end of the show. For those who are coming to my channel for the first time, I am Kamal Vich, and this show is Happy, Not Just Rich. And here we talk to the people and try to search for secret formulas for happiness. Thank you, Marisa, for joining us, and stay in touch.
Beautiful. I thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.